All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. John Aspinall is going to be talking about how these AI images will no longer look like AI images once you get through the webinar. Now, if you don't know, Kevin and I have a podcast called The Marketing Misfits. It's been around for almost 2 years, 140 episodes, and it's awesome. Yesterday, we were recording three different podcasts, and we were taking notes through each one. So it's pretty cool if you want to check out. It's nothing to do with Amazon. It's all about marketing. And these marketers have thought outside of the box to become successful or have overcome some crazy hurdles. Now, we do have two ways of getting those long and short form videos. First, YouTube, you can go to Marketing Misfits Podcast, or if you want short 3-minute clips, it's Marketing Misfits Clips. But we also, about 3 months ago, started a newsletter called Marketing Misfits Newsletter, and we've been getting some great feedback. I don't know, Kevin, if you want to talk about this, but it's great. It just summarizes all the podcasts that we've been doing.
Yeah, we just had quite a few people that played the pregame, the game that just signed up for it. So you'll get your first one next Wednesday. Today's already went out this morning. So you'll get that and you'll notice it's different. So if you're a regular subscriber to Billion Dollar Sellers newsletter, my newsletter, it's completely different content and completely different style, completely different layout. And a lot of people are really enjoying it. And we're getting a lot of unsolicited feedback from people just replying saying, "Hey, this one's great," or "I love this issue," or "Love the way you have formatted. I can skim it really quick." So check it out at misfits.news or scan that QR code. It's free. It's every Wednesday, and it'll help you up your marketing game, especially as a lot of you are going omni-channel and you're going outside of just being on Amazon. It will help you quite a bit there as well. What's this thing, Dragonfish? What's that thing, Norm? Some
I heard about it
interesting
years
stuff.
ago.
About years ago. So
Years
yeah,
ago I
so
heard
so
about it, but
Dragonfish,
we're
Norm's
fine
not
tuning it.
Yeah, Norm's not kidding. About years ago, I went to Norm's house in Canada. He lives north of Toronto. And I live down in Austin. I went up there a couple years ago, and we started working on this and an idea for some stuff, and it's evolved. I mean, our first concept and first things that we were going to do is actually been thrown out the window. We wasted a lot of money on trademarks and
A lot of money.
a lot of money on stuff. Um, but now Dragonfish is actually live. We've been in beta for a while, and with a few clients, and now it's actually live. And what we specialize in is email marketing. So email is a major pain point for a lot of e-commerce sellers. They either don't have a email list, or if they do, they're not really maximizing it. And then we also can help you build a list through what's called cold email marketing. So we're able to capture people who are searching. So if you're selling, let's say, a hair loss shampoo, and someone types what's the best shampoo for hair loss into Google or into one of the AI engines, a lot of times we can capture about 60 to 70% of those people without them ever coming to your website. We're able to capture their email and a lot more information on them. And then we send them what's called a cold email, which is it's a special technique you got to do. And you send those out, and we can get people onto your mailing list and to your site. And then we build landing pages that are fully AEO optimized, so you get in the answer engines. It's a pretty cool. We did a webinar on it last Thursday. If you missed that webinar, um, I'll give you a way to see that here in a second. But that's what Dragonfish does. So we can either help you maximize your current list of add 25 to your email marketing should be about 25 to 40% of your sales. So if you're doing $2 million right now on Amazon and you're not doing any email, you could probably add another $500,000 or more to your sales on top of the 2 million if you do email marketing right. Some people say, "Oh, we've tried it." We had a woman on a call last week that said they tried it and they know what they're doing, and we're like, "Well, how much sales are you getting per week?" She's like, $200. What was that? What's she said? Something like $200 or something. And we're like, "Okay, you clearly don't know what you're doing." So
Hmm.
that's what we do. And that's what we help. If you want to watch that webinar, it's got some tips that you can take away. We give you 4 prompts that you can apply to your current email marketing now, and we show you, and then we show you what's behind the hood on Dragonfish. So if you just go to dragon.fish, the webinar is in the middle of the page, so you can actually hit play right there, or you can find it on our YouTube channel at Marketing Misfits, or you can just scan that QR code. But we're not going to spend time on this now, but I encourage everybody to actually go and spend an hour and watch that webinar. It's it's what we're doing is really really cool, and we have this.
Kevin, before you move on, there is a question about this. Sai says, can you do this for the EU? Does it get stuck with the GDPR?
We can do it for warm email for the EU. So like we have somebody that's based in the UK right now that's coming on as a client, and they have half of their list is UK people and EU people, and half are United States. So if you have a list, we can definitely help you, no matter where they are in the world. If it's cold email, if you want to build a list, we can only build a list in the United States because of the laws in Europe and stuff. We can't do the cold stuff, but in the United States, it's an opt out, not an opt in. A lot of people think that you have to opt in to receive email in the United States. It's illegal to send somebody an email if they don't opt in. That's absolutely not true. It's the laws are different here. Yeah, check out the webinar, and then if you want to talk to us, there's a way to actually talk to us off of that. One quick thing before we bring John on too is I also have the $1 Billion Sellers Club. A lot of you may have seen the webinar, the Hacks webinar we did about a month ago on that. This is a monthly club that I have. It's $9 to try it out for a month. It's at $1 billion sellers.club. And every month, John's sometimes pops in there on the Q&As and just offers cool advice, just at random. But I do 3 calls per month. One is with me, so you get to pick my brain, ask me questions. One is with a special guest, one guest, and they talk about, make a presentation on a certain topic, and you get to ask questions. And then another one is with 3 people. So we have 3 experts. It's kind of like a group discussion. And that's actually what we're doing today. Literally after this webinar, there's one at 2 o'clock Eastern. It says 1 there Central. 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central. I've got Juana and Andrew and talk people from, we're going to be talking about AI and how everything's changed. Rufus is no more, and what's Cosmo changed and what's going on with Alexa. And these are some of the smartest minds when it comes to what's happening on Amazon with AI. And so we're going to be talking about that. So if you want to join, it's $9 to try it out, cancel anytime. And you also get access when you join to the April event in Nashville, all the replays from that, all the replays from the online event in January. So there's a ton of content that is super valuable, and it's cheap. And you get access to my Oracle, where you can ask questions about even this webinar. This webinar, the transcript will go into the Oracle. So if you're like, man, what was that thing that John said? You could go in there and type it into the BDSS Oracle and say, John was on this webinar and he said something about blah, blah, blah. What was it he said? It'll spit it back out to you and tell you the answer. So it's pretty cool. All right. That's again, $1 billion sellersclub.com or $1 billion sellers.club. Either URL will get you there. Try it for $9, less than a sandwich. Okay. Now it's time for our guest of honor and what everybody's here to see. John Aspinall. Just a quick aside. I first met John, I think when he worked for another company. He was doing these live like Wednesday, I think it was Wednesdays or Fridays. It was one day of the week, it's like teardowns. And someone would submit their listing and he would just tear it apart and then build it back up and show them what to do. And he invited me to come on, be the co-host on one of those things. And I was like, this guy actually knows what he's doing when it comes to actually building listings and images. And now with AI, he's like one of the leaders out there in our space when it comes to actually cutting edge ways to create images and video and to automate systems. In fact, I just paid Dragonfish just paid John several $1,000s to do some consulting with us. And Sunday, John and I spent 4.5 hours literally this true story. This last Sunday, 3 days ago, spent 4.5 hours on the phone, and he spent some more time with Kelsey since then. And we're fixing a couple things on our Dragonfish landing pages, and they look good, but I knew they could be a little bit better, and I could figure it out. But I was like, why should I sit here and try to figure it out when I know one of the top experts can make this compress my time and save me a lot of money, even though it might cost a few $1,000. He's going to be able to save us a lot of money. And at the end, Kelsey messaged me yesterday and it's like, dude, what you just showed me on this other stuff? It's going to save me hours and hours and hours of time of stuff I was having to do. Literally, that was a message on WhatsApp from Kelsey. So he's here today to show you what you can do. And then at the end, we're going to show you how you can actually get with him, but not for thousands of bucks, for a really great deal. So, John, I'm going to stop sharing and let you take over and razzle and dazzle us.
Awesome. Thank you. And let me just get my screen going over here. and close this junk over here. Cool. So, like Kevin had said, I'm John Aspinall. I am not going to present to you with a slide deck and a very buttoned up kind of presentation. I'm very tactical. I'm very demonstrative and very hands on. So, I'm going to walk you through a lot of these processes and run some demos over here as well and show you the tools. That's how I learn and that's how I best digest things. But just look at my LinkedIn here. Just if anyone doesn't know me, I'm a creative director at an agency, Velocity Sellers. I also strategically advise for Product Opinion. But then Aspie is my AI education and creative kind of agency that I'm doing over here. But enough of that. So what we're going to be talking about is I grabbed a random ASIN off of Amazon, and I want to walk you guys through my process and through all the different steps and the way that I'm looking at images and that I've baked out skills to actually do this for me. One thing to note, there's a lot of really smart folks in the space that are talking about images and whether using third party tools, which are great, or using your own Claude code or anything like that, and connecting other connectors inside of it that cost you money, still very good options as well. What I'm showing you today is I'm a fan of owning the process, not renting the process. So for me, I don't want to pay more than what I'm already paying with my AI tools. I have 3 kids and a wife. I live in New York City. I got to make the dollar stretch. So if I'm already paying money for these AI tools, well, I want to do everything that I'm doing inclusive in that price. So everything I'm showing here in the next half an hour or so is going to be inclusive and not an additional API or token or anything like that. These are inclusive in these tools and these plans that I'm talking about. Now that we got that out of the way. So when you're taking a look at a listing on Amazon, fundamentally, what are the images that matter the most, right? So it's going to be the main hero image. Obviously, when it comes on the search engine result page, that's what's going to get you the click. After that, it's going to be the images in the image stack over here, right? All this kind of information. And from there, that's pretty much, in my opinion, 75% of it, because most folks are not going to go what I call below the fold to the A plus content. Do you need A plus content? Absolutely. Does it have to look great? 100%. But is that going to be the leading factor in a lot of conversions? In my opinion, it depends. If it's something super technical that someone needs to know more information, sure, they're going to go to the bottom over here. But what we're going to walk through today is the entire process with the skills to generate these images for you without you having to go to an agency, go to a designer, go to pay additional API things, anything like that. So what I have here is the example of Maxler whey protein. And I picked this example because if you have a product that has multiple flavors, multiple colors, multiple styles, multiple patterns, what happens is you want that continuity and consistency across everything. So you don't want to have AI start to hallucinate like, okay, I got the bananas and cream really good, but when I go and do it for the blueberry muffin or the cappuccino, whatever, there's little changes over here. And I don't want that because as a brand, you want to be consistent across the board because that's what's going to look the most professional and that's what's going to resonate with consumers for conversion. So if I walk through the typical process, right? You're taking this and giving it to a designer, your agency, you're going back and forth on revisions, all that kind of stuff. But if we're looking in the AI realm of things, right? What most folks are going to be doing when it comes to AI is they're going to go to ChatGPT, right? They're going to say, hey, make me an image over here, an infographic for this. It's going to spit it out. Well, is this good? Sure, this is good. It's okay. Is it scalable? No, because what happens is there's no, you see, you run into these errors. I don't even know what this is. So yeah, it's going to have to regenerate it again. But what happens is this is not scalable. It's not scalable because there's no checks and balances in terms of locking in high fidelity, locking in what good looks like, any of this kind of stuff. And it slows down the process because you can't create a whole entire image stack and you cannot create 50 image stacks that are all on brand for you in ChatGPT. Now, I tried this same example to show you guys over here in Gemini, and which is another tool that someone might use to create images, because right now, those are the two models. So it's OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, or Gemini, which are the main frontier staples in terms of image generation. There's no other real model that's doing it. I do have Claude Code. I teach Claude Code, Codex, all these kind of things. Claude Code is amazing. Claude Code does not have a image generation inside of it. So if you're using Claude Code, you're having to bring in these other connections to keep it in the workflow. I'm in the camp of I have this tool to do this and this tool to do this, right? So you could see right here, I'm still having issues with just friggin' getting Gemini just to create this. I can even copy and paste it. So the reason I want to show this is because these are the kind of issues you may have in your workflow. And this kind of time that we're spending going, copying, pasting, doing these things, right? It's not conducive and it's not scalable. So if I just do this and create image and I run it, it might fail again, or it's going to go and create it, right? It's going to say here it is, and there's nothing there. What are you talking about? Where is the image? Like, this is what is going to happen. Oh, there's the image. That image sucks. That image is not good at all. That is horrible. That will get suppressed on Amazon. That's not even the right size. It's not even the right, like, it's covering the bottle. It's just, it sucks. So there is a solution, right? And the solution is twofold. So I'm going to show you what I've baked out in Codex, which if you have a paid ChatGPT $20 subscription, you have access to Codex. So this is Codex right here. So when you have the app downloaded, you're going to have ChatGPT in the top corner, which is just regular kind of chat, and then Codex. It's important to note that you need the Codex portion of it. Why? It's using the same image generation model. So when you're creating an image in ChatGPT, it's not like Codex's image model is better. It's the same OpenAI image 2 model. It's the same thing. But the fundamental difference inside of Codex is you're able to do skills, right? Which is a skill right here, which is this right here. It's very comprehensive. But there's checks and balances inside the skill. There's reporting that's exporting with the skill. There's all this kind of stuff. So you need more data. You don't need just iteration, do this, very transactional AI. So the first one that I'm going to show you guys right now is the image stack generation skill. So all I'm doing over here is calling upon the skill, giving it the URL of the product on Amazon, and giving it the image of the product. Making sure that it's a high fidelity image, making sure that it's the more context you can give, the better. So for this one, it's not my brand. I'm not managing it. I just pulled a rando kind of listing off of Amazon. So this input, it would be better if we had the back or the side of the bottle, so AI doesn't have to guess what it is. But just wanted to run through this as an example. So you can see I'm just giving it one image, one skill, one link. And then what it's going to do over here, it says, you see it's checking. Product fidelity passes for the front-facing tub. Here's the live listing, and here's the routing plan. The routing plan, don't worry about. That's just how it goes into my system. But the important thing to note is the deliverables. So it's going to give, when it's done with this, the strategy document. It's going to give competitor research, depending on if you have any additional tools hooked up. In mine, it's just going to go to the browser and just assume. You can always give it, so AI is garbage in, garbage out. So if you know direct competitors, you can give that here in the input, and then it's going to give you even better results. It's going to have source assets, but the QA checklist, because what happens here is you'll see this bakes out for 6 images, right? So it's going to run for 13 minutes. Someone might say, that's a long time for AI. When you look at this over here, it's going to go through it. It's going to generate it. It's going to quality control it. If there's an issue, it's going to regenerate that image. So then at the end of the 13 minutes, you have a full creative brief over here of everything that was done, why it was done. You're having the strategy. Okay, why did we put this image as number 2? Why did we put this image as number 3? So you can see there's logic behind this. So a lot of times, if you were to go to ChatGPT and just generate images randomly, there's no logic to that. So formula differentiation, lifestyle image, practical objection solver. So it's giving the data behind it, but then also here's our QA checklist. So the skill has baked in final deliverables, exclude the main hero image, all that kind of stuff done. Every final image is 2000 by 2000 done. So if something doesn't, every visible product in this, all that is checked off, and it won't be checked off, and it won't stop until everything in the checklist and the QA and QC is done. So that's the fundamental difference between, transactional AI, which is what ChatGPT is, or Gemini, of, yeah, you do this and I'll do this and I'll give you this, and it is what it is. But when you look at the output is amazing. And I know I made it. I didn't make it. I prompted it. But I'm a creative director at an agency. I do this for clients. I made these skills, and I'm always updating them for the past 8 or 9 months. So there's a lot of reasoning and purposefulness that goes into this. So you can see dessert flavor, serious protein, highly accurate. There's no hallucinations, no any kind of issues with the packaging or label, and it's showing the flavor prop, the flavor, and then the finished good behind it. So then we go into the next image in the stack. So 24 grams of protein, 130 calories. So as I go through these, I want to reinforce the fact that this was all done, and I don't have the lowest Codex or ChatGPT plan, but I don't have the highest. I have the $100 a month plan. So I don't have the $200 a month plan. But when I show the usage over here, I'm only at 84%. I still have 84% of my weekly usage. When I started, this is amongst everything else that I'm doing. When I started this morning, I was at 87%. And I ran all the stuff I'm going to show you. So 3% of my weekly usage was spent on this. So that's huge. Think about how much you could scale if you just dedicated for images, right? 3 forms of whey, concentrate, isolate, whatever that is, and the bottle over here. Then we have a lifestyle, right? Train hard, recover deliciously. Product over here, avatar. Look at the branding. That's the branding. That's Maxler. That's Maxler over there. So going into the couple more images in the stack over here, mix is smooth, enzyme blend inside. So some folks might look at that and be like, it's a great looking image, but why are they pouring it with the cap on? Or, why are they looking at like a tornado inside of the bottle? So those are things that you can come back in and just refine. I think it looks good. I think it's go to market ready. But the great thing about Codex is you can come over here and comment directly on this to be able to edit it. So I could say something so easily as, I like this image, but this portion of the mixed protein powder in the bottle, I don't like that tornado kind of whipping around. Can you just make it where it's regular and no movement? And I could just send that off, right? So now I'm QCing myself as the brand owner if I didn't like that, right? So now it's almost as if I have a designer working on everything in the back end, because I'm not worried about that. I'm on to the next thing, right? So when we take a look at this over here, right? One scoop, plenty of ways, showing use cases, just flavors, all this kind of stuff. So this is the image stack, right? That it generated in 13 minutes. But I went one step further, and I had said, cool. And I said, add 2 more images, one of the ingredients splashing around and one explosive of the flavor in a stylistic way. And in just 2 minutes, it gave me those images, right? So that image, it's actually generating that image over here, but you could see this one over here. Let me zoom in. Can I zoom? I can zoom. So you can see I said explosion and flavors. So now it gave me the flavor explosion, and it gave me that one over there. So you think of it as, okay, I'm the brand owner, I'm the agency owner, I'm the operator, whatever it is. Yeah, this is good, and I'm going to go to this, but give me more. Cool, no problem. And then if there's an edit, hey, we're going to make the edit over here. But we're not sitting there waiting on it. We're on to the next thing. So I'm going to let that run. But I think that's a good example of showing how the image stack can get generated. And this can be custom. We do this all the time in the cohorts that I run. This is my agnostic or generalized skill. But for folks that I work with, we tailor the skill to their brand. So brand colors, brand fonts, what image is most important where. I need to have a lifestyle image in number two. So we apply their logic to the stack. So now that's the image stack. Now what I want to show you guys is, and gals, is this, is imagine if you have a designer that already, you don't want to use AI for image generation. You want to use AI to scale, or you want to use AI for image generation and you want to scale. Well, that's where we have the image stack rollout. So if I go back to this listing over here, you're going to see, and there's nothing wrong with their images, that's fine. But you're going to see when I go to, let's say, they really don't have any flavor stuff over here. But if I was to click on blueberry muffin, right, the bottle's going to change over here. So you see how the bottle is the purple bottle and the protein and all this kind of stuff. And if I click on cookies and cream, they're going to have pretty much the same thing. Bottle, this, it's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing across the board, but for different products. That's the difficult part for creative, for brands that have big parentages, big catalogs, is how do you scale that? Well, I fixed that, right? So you don't have to worry about that anymore with when doing something like this. So what I have is the image stack rollout skill. So what the image stack rollout skill does is it locks in high fidelity on what good looks like. Now, that can either be whatever you just generated with the image stack skill, or providing it and saying, hey, these are the images that I want to lock in, run the image stack rollout, but I want you to do it on these flavors, right? So it's interesting though, because I just made up some flavors over here in terms of rolling it out. Codex is so smart that it knows, hey, I can do this, right? But their brand, according to their website and according to their Amazon, they don't have those flavors. So I'm not going to invent packaging or label facts. So I said, okay, no problem. Let's do their real flavors. And then it kicked off. So it took 59 minutes, so almost an hour, which is a long time. But imagine we're not sitting here and watching this for 59 minutes. We're letting it run. We're doing a million other things, and the output is coming over here. So now what we have is this. So let me zoom out over here. No, zoom out. Okay. So in terms of the image up here, that's from the cheesecake one, I now have that for the salted caramel, for the strawberry banana, and for the Cinnabon. Exact same image, different bottle for the accurate bottle, different flavor prop across the board. Nothing has changed. Right. So if I pull them up in specifically, this is the difference, right? So the original one that we had put in was, where was that? This one, right? So we locked in the fidelity and we got this one and we got this one and we got this one. So you could see I did that for 3. I can do that for 30. I could do that for 100. It's going to take longer, right? But it's going to get done and it's going to get done right. And then in terms of the image that we locked in for, let's see, for this, right? So 24 grams of protein, calories, this, that, and a third. Well, that's this image right here, right? So it's all the same, but the flavor prop and the bottle is now changed to be accurate to what it's working on, right? So let me zoom out over here for a second. So now we have the model here. Exactly. Well, the model differs a little bit, and I think sometimes that's okay, right? Because it's different flavors. But more importantly, let's take a look at this. I wish Codex, let me move over. Here, let me just zoom in this way. So I'll go back down to the flavor explosion. So look at that. That's the Cinnabon. That's the salted caramel. This is the strawberry and banana, banana strawberry. I think it's always strawberry banana. It's never banana strawberry. And we have the splashes, so 24 grams of protein for that one. We have it for the cinnamon one, cinnamon roll, and we have it for the salted caramel. So you could see at this scale. Oh, by the way, remember what we did before in terms of like acting as the orchestrator and the QC person ourselves. We're like, yeah, this is cool, but I don't want this. Well, while I was just reviewing that, Codex said, cool story. Here you go. Super accurate, super on point to exactly what we said. And I could very easily go and say, well, this is great. Now run it for all the other flavors. And I have everything I need. So this is how you're able to scale either with AI images or with your own products that you're locking in or your own designs from a designer. Because some folks I talk to, they're basically saying, I don't want to use AI to make images. I want a designer. I still pay a designer. I still have an agency. Well, that's cool. Use their output and lock it in as this is the standard, and then you don't need them to scale for your other colors, your other styles, your other flavors, your other scents. So it's really, really comprehensive like that. I always show this hot sauce example, but label over here, skill, and then the URL, and then it puts it out like this, right? Soup. It's if you look at the Tabasco listing for themselves, they have nothing there. But they're Tabasco. Some of these brands don't really care in terms of like the listing. They're going to sell anyway. But the important thing is I said, cool, now run the image stack rollout for these 3 other flavors. And it did that. So smart to know that for the tropical heat that has the mango, the papaya, to show tropical style foods like a salsa, a shrimp, jerk bowls. And, for the savory stuff, the garlic, it's like pasta, pizza, all that kind of stuff. So really, really comprehensive. So that's the image stack and the image stack rollout. That's how you scale. Now, one thing to note too, in terms of these skills are, you can use them in other tools, right? In other AI tools. So if you could take the skill to Claude and tell it to do this, it's just not going to have any output. It'll kind of run the reports and kind of run the strategies, but it's not going to have the output. The 2 that I recommend are going to be obviously Codex, because I'm using it right now, but also Grok. So the new Grok model 4.5 build, Grok levels up even further than Codex because Grok is doing not only just context and images, but also video, which I'll show you guys in a little bit as well, because it's really, really cool. So that's above the fold for the stack and the image stack rollout. The next thing I want to talk about is the A+ content, because remember when we talked about the page, what's important, the hero image, which we're going to get to, the image stack, and then the A+ content. Those are the biggest things in terms of creative that you want. Now you'll notice over here, most items when they're brand, most items that have different flavors, they're not going to go down to the A+ content and do a flavor specific A+ content because it's time intensive, it's costly for an agency, and sometimes it's hard to justify the conversion rate lift for things like this for flavor specific. So what I'm showing over here is going to be this. So this is going to be me running what I call the A+ premium content skill. So that's this over here. So I took the images that I wanted because I didn't want to use the images that are on that listing already. So I wanted to use the images that I generated as the reference point. So what it did is it ran this over here. So now I have premium A+ content, not only for desktop, but it actually outputs for mobile as well. So it's going to adjust for the mobile size. So you can give it different references of, oh, I like this style A+ content, or I like this one. I didn't give it any reference, but you could see what it does is it develops that one page because essentially that's what it is. Premium A+ content. You want to have it be that one page style because when folks have that, so if I go to Amazon, for example, and I was to look at the best one that I kind of go to is Mary Ruth. I always kind of reference this one a lot because they really have that D2C style one page locked in really well. So when you go to their page, you see how everything is kind of seamless. It looks like a one pager. It looks like it's one giant image. It's not. It's multiple different images that are together. But the way that they're done is that they're seamless. So that's the way that these pages are constructed So this is a 5 module. So on the output, this is going to take this large image and split it into 1464 by 600 pieces. So when you upload it to Amazon, it's 100% seamless. So it's fully customizable. So this is 5 modules. So it's 1464 by 3000. But if you wanted 6 modules for that to be longer, well, it's 1464 by 3600. And the skill and the content will adjust for that, right? So that's where this one performs really, really well. And this is the big unlock too, because I'm doing the premium A plus content one pager on this, but now if I'm locking this in as good, I can then say, cool, run the image rollout on this for all these other different flavors. So now what happens is you're able to then have A plus content that's flavor or color or style specific to the individual parentage, which most people, most brands on Amazon are not doing because it takes too much time, too much effort, too much money to be doing that kind of stuff. So you can see over here, they just have the bottle, but everything else is pretty much the same. But what this you're able to do is level that up. So now you're able to just explode across the screen with the flavors and the ingredients and make it very specific. So when the shopper is going down below the A plus content, they're able to actually see that and it resonates with them a lot more. So that's how you're able to use the A plus content skill. So you can see over here, it's going to do all the QC, the QA report. It includes all the briefs, everything like that. So you're not just getting something that is, here's an image. You're not getting something that's transactional. You're getting something that has data behind it. So the important thing to note too is that the reason it's really powerful in Codex and the reason it's a little bit of a loophole is because Codex has a very strong internal browser. So a lot of times if you're referencing your Amazon listing to Claude, it says, I can't see the listing or I have to go through like an API or another connector. Codex has a very strong built-in browser that allows it to see the page and scroll the page and look at all the data that's on the page. So that's why using Codex for this is really, really beneficial. The next thing I want to talk about, so we talked about the image stack, we talked about scaling the image stack, we talked about the A plus, we talked about scaling the A plus. The other thing is the hero image. So going back to the listing over here, you want to be able to play with your hero image and increase your CTR, but you don't want to have to sit there and think, well, what strategy do I want to do? Because when you look at like the SERP or the search engine result page, you're going to see brands putting the flavor next to it, brands putting the product in the flavor. Maybe there's a call out, maybe it's just the product, maybe it's tilted. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can be doing with something like this, but you might not know. So what I have over here is another skill, and this is called the Product Opinion Main Image Lab skill. So what this skill has inside of it is a comprehensive 60 plus main image tactics and strategies. So when you call upon the skill, all you're doing is giving it the product shot, the URL and the skill. And what the skill's able to do is look at all those different strategies and look at the category that you're in and pull out 3 to 5 of the best ones that would fit that product. So it's smart enough to know that if you're showing towels or linens or sheets, it's not going to use the ingredient it kind of tactic, and vice versa, right? But what it also gives you in the skill with the concepts is also the strategy on how you want to test it if you're running like product opinion. So not only is it helping you generate the better images, but it's also giving you the strategy behind it. So you can see this was the hero image right here. It's plain. It's just the bottle of Tabasco, the hot sauce. But because the skill knows that there is an ingredient inside of it, it's able to say, okay, what we want to do is tilt it, right? And that minor tilt could be a pattern interrupt, which could raise your click-through rate on Amazon. And even if your conversion rate stays the same, if your click-through rate goes up, you make more money. It's very, very simple. It's just math. The other one over here that it gave was ingredient it. So it pulled the ingredients from inside here and put it outside. It put a splash behind it over here of the product, and it did a sunburst. Now I probably wouldn't use the sunburst, but you could see at least 3 out of the 5 are usable. One was like a mega label. So this one still has to be iterated a little bit more, but the idea is pretty cool there. So if you ever wanted to push the limits with that, but in terms of tilting and this, so you can do this at scale. You could do this for multiple products at a time. So I did this actually for the example product we're working on, which is that whey protein. And this is what it gave over here. So it decided to do the tilt. It decided to do the finish good on the outside, which is something that you see on Amazon. Talking about the flavor on either side of it right here. I don't know what this one was. This one was kind of just random. And then another one of the flavor on the outside, just on one side over here. I didn't like that one, but I like this one, right? Or I like this one plus the finish good. So I can go and tell Codex, I like this one and I like this one, combine them together. So you can see you're able to take it and move it at scale. The other example I have for this over here is for vitamin C. I actually took one of Amazon's own products and said, hey, I can make this better. So I took their vitamin C gummies, and immediately this one was amazing. Like product accurate, high fidelity, flavor, ingredients, exactly what it is. Like if Amazon did this, I guarantee they would get a better click-through rate, but they don't care enough. So that is, what we're looking at in terms of the entire kind of run through, right? So when we're talking about this, where did my listing go? I already lost my listing over here. Let me go back. Oh, that's what it was. I was on a different flavor. So that's what we talked about, affecting the hero image, the image stack, rolling out the image stack across flavors, across styles, across colors, generating the A plus, premium A plus. No one should be using standard A plus in 2026, premium A plus, and then rolling it out for the different colors as well. The last thing I want to talk about is kind of twofold. So it's going to be more of the social side of things, but then also the video aspect of it, right? So, and again, these can be very transferable between Grok and Codex, so you can go back and forth between the two. But what I want to show over here for this is social ads. So for brands selling on Amazon, a lot of the best practice is running Instagram, running Facebook, meta ads, running Pinterest, running all these different things to your listing. So we have a skill over here called Premium Social Pack. So what this is doing is taking your product and it's building out social ads. And you can see they're fundamentally different from infographics that are on Amazon. They're very ad copy focused and all this kind of stuff, right? So put the day down, a mixed berry wine down ritual. Now, the great thing about this is there's so many people that talk about, oh, I have a PPC manager that does my social ads, but he only does that, but he needs a ton more creative. Usually, and I did some studies on this at the agency that I'm at right now, and studies came out with the Advantage Plus for Facebook or Meta that they're finding 500 to 1,000 creative assets are needed to really fine tune the social ad strategy. That is a lot of creative, and that is very costly and very time consuming. So what this skill does, right, is it gives you these options, and then you can then say, great, roll out this in these sizes, scale this in this style, do both for this and what to change. So now I can take this advertising asset over here and I can scale this for 20 different versions, keeping everything the same, but just changing the copy. 20 different versions of the same copy, but different sizing. So meta horizontal, meta 1x1, Pinterest, 9x16. And you're able to deliver to whoever's running your ads, whether it's an agency or a PPC manager or VA, the amount of creatives they need to get the job done. So I did the same thing over here for like a Starbucks listing. So you can see over here, it's good. Your coffee break just got a night mode. All the dark chocolate drama, zero sugar. These are really good. Now I'm gonna say this probably for the third or fourth time. This cost me nothing more than my $100 ChatGPT Codex subscription. So imagine if you had a $200 plan and you can really push the envelope even further and scale even harder, right? So I'm a huge fan of owning the process instead of renting. Could you do this on a third-party platform? Sure. Is you going to run through a lot of credits? Are you going to, a lot of people are very dead set on Claude Code, and my whole entire workflow is in Claude Code. Cool. I get it. But if you want to do images, you're either going to have to pay to play and bring in a third-party API or another thing like that, or you're going to have to silo the workflow into this is the tool for creative and this is the tool for everything else that I'm doing, right? So that is everything in terms of affecting your creative on the Amazon page, um, outside of one little thing. So this is what I want to show you guys right now. So what I'm going to show you is Grok, right? So Grok Imagine is an extremely strong model. So you could see inside of here what you're able to do with Grok Imagine. And these are some examples that I did. So something like this right here, a very just simple animation of a bottle turning is powerful, especially when you're adding, and I'll show you how I do this in a second, is that alone is not strong enough to run an ad against. This alone is not strong enough to run an ad against. But what Grok does really, really well is it can combine and be that editor that you need, right? So a couple of things to the couple of things I'm already saying, right? So imagine if you are doing sponsor brand video ads, right? Because you can't do sponsor brand static ads anymore. It have to be video. And you have to call out if it's a AI generated person. Great. But what happens if it's a cartoon? I don't have to call that out. So you could see over here, I'm able to take an avatar or whatever I want with product specific in the proper style and construct it, right? So even something like this, cartoon avatar, hyper realistic bottle right there. Again, I had to iterate on that because that's not the product, but you could see the potential that's inside of there. So there's so many different ways to structure this. So this is inside Grok Imagine. So I gave it an example over here and the infographic it made. Light years better than what Gemini was putting out. And this was just a one-off. But the cool thing inside Grok is that I'm able to go here and granularly change. It pulls out all the components to make these like slight minute edits. So like brand logo, all these things. This is where it really helps scale. But when you're doing something like this, right? And this is something I'm talking about at Market Masters next weekend, is that you're able to come over here and let's say you have your reference of your avatar, right? So I want to have Zagan, right? So I've built an avatar inside here as a reference of cartoon Zagan. So now I'm going to say cartoon Zagan is at his local, and I'll say yoga studio with goalie in his hand saying how much he loves the product. Okay. I'm going to show you the finished example. I already showed the finished example of this, but then I can say 6 seconds, 10 seconds. But it's important because when you have a reference, it's going to do it the same exact way, the same exact time. You can even tune the voices to be the exact same voice, the exact same way. But I just want to show you guys this in terms of the actual speed, right? So now it's going to go over here, and this isn't an image generation. This is a video generation. So the Grok, this is something Codex can't do. Codex can do contextual and it can do the images, but that's where it stops. So when you either bring in Grok into the equation or just totally use Grok for everything, it's, you choose your own adventure. But with something like this is how we're taking to the next level a video that's on the PDP, right, inside the image stack, or leveraging this to be product accurate videos for sponsor brand video ads or any other sort of ads, Facebook ads, meta ads, anything like that. So you could see in that time, so it didn't do that right. It hallucinated a little bit. So bad example. I don't know why it did that. But you might have to do a little bit of tweaking. So Grok failed me on this one right now, which is fine. But what I want to show you over here is example output that I did for that goalie product previously, which is this right here. And we're just going to pull up. So this right here. So this was having Grok make all the images and then Grok animate them. So label spin, bottle spray, dropping the products. So imagine if you had text put on top of this afterwards, or music or anything like that. These are highly engaging and they look very, very professionally produced. So I actually took that and I said, hey, apply that to this Maxler product. So the zoom in, the bottle pull, that label was a little bit weird, but can pulling open, product over here, spilling out, label turn, all that kind of stuff. Right. So that I actually went and made into a skill inside of Grok. Right. So I was like, hey, okay, I have slash Amazon SBV product fast cut. So now if I run that against anything, it's going to do the exact same thing with creating that fast cut video. So now you're able to scale images, just able to scale with videos, able to scale with avatar videos, like the sky is the limit. And I already ran about 7 videos this morning. And when I look at my usage, I'm only about 2% of my weekly usage. Um, and I'm on the $100 Grok plan. So you could see like you're able to own this entire process end to end, be able to empower your team for all these kind of things that we're talking about, whether it be the hero image, the image stack, the A plus content scaling across. And I know I was talking about supplements and all that kind of stuff, but this is just as good for non-consumable items for, really, really the sky's the limit. So, and this is what I do every single month is I focus on a different topic, different brand, and I have these cohorts where they're brand owners and operators where we kind of go in, there's weekly calls and we get through all these things and I empower them with the skills and everything that we're seeing here. So 1 month I'll work on Codex, 1 month I'll work on Claude Code, 1 month I'll work on, Grok. I have a Grok one coming up as well. So I'm just looking into different ways that you can enable brand owners and operators to use the tools that they have to scale, right? So I'm going to stop there because I know there's probably a lot of questions, and I know Kevin wants to say some stuff too. But happy to take any questions, or Kevin, you're going to hop into your end of it, whatever you want to do next.
All right. Yeah. Well, if you have a question, feel free to type it into the questions box. We'll answer those at the end. We're not going to answer those right now, but type it in there, and then Norm and I and John will go through those here in about 5-10 minutes or so. But I want to show you something first here. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive what you can do. Yeah, you got sometimes you got to redo one and fine tune it and tweak it, but the power is just crazy. And like John said, now he's shown it to you. You've seen what can be done, and like he said, every month he does a different cohort, and this month he's doing or for the next 4 weeks he's doing one on Codex. It's a 4 week all live, and you're creating your images. So he's holding your hand, and what do you charge John per hour? $500 per hour is what John charges for private consulting, and that's what Dragonfish basically had to just pay. But that is what he charges. But you're going to be getting that for a fraction of that. You're going to see it work. And seeing it work like he just showed you and doing it are not the same thing. Sometimes you need a little helping hand or someone to guide you to save you the time. Like, like it glitched here. Oh, here's what you need to say. Do this, this, and this. And he knows because this is what he lives and breathes all day long, 16 hours a day. He's sitting on that computer doing this stuff for himself and for clients and for an agency he works for. So from what he just showed you right now, you've got 3 basic doors that you can choose. The first one is take what he just showed you, watch the replay if you want to, and go figure it out yourself. You've already made the first step because that's why you came here. You wouldn't have come here this morning if you weren't if you weren't interested in this. If this wasn't actually something that you think you could actually use, you wouldn't be here. Trial and error, though, is the most expensive teacher you'll ever have. Trial and error is great. It's cheaper, but it's also the long way. It's the hard way, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Just like Ron when we met him with him on Sunday. Sorry, my dog is barking. Just like when we met him on Sunday, He was showing us stuff that saved hours and hours of time that we wouldn't have done on our own. That right there was worth everything. Door number two out of your three doors that you can choose from is you go watch another tutorial. Watch, John does some of this online. He posts videos sometimes. Watch somebody else's. You hit pause, you copy. Maybe it does, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. And you close the tab and you're not any further ahead. You're like, that's cool, but it just doesn't work for me. Um, a tutorial has never seen your product. And so it's never seen your label. It doesn't know that you have maybe an information problem. It doesn't know. It's you're on your own. You don't have an information problem, but nobody has watched you do it problem. So that's the problem that you have. Door three, if you choose that door, is you can go live. Sorry, hopefully it's not too loud. You can go live with the operator on your own ASINs. So you can go live with John on your own ASINs. This is not a demo. It's not him like what you just shot. And let me grab this goalie thing and show you. No, it's on your ASINs and he's helping you get through the entire thing. And then by the end of it, you'll have it down and then you're off to the races on your own and you can knock this stuff out left and right. So he's doing that on 4 dates. August 19th, the following week, August 26th, so a week from today, the following Wednesday, the following Wednesday, and the following Wednesday. So 4 Wednesdays in a row, he does this live with you. It's called the Amazon Codex Creative Bootcamp. And it's with John himself. It's not with a VA. It's with somebody else. It's with him himself. So if you want to do that, it's live for 4 weeks with John, your catalog, and you get real assets at the end of it. It's from 5 to 7 o'clock Eastern is the time, and you build with him. If you can't make it, you're like, dude, man, I'm gonna be out of town on one of those on September, whatever, one of those dates. There is a recording available, so you'll be able to go back through the recording if you just can't make it live or if it doesn't work for your time zone. It's not a course. There's a difference. This is not like some pre-recorded course and you watch a bunch of videos and that's it. It's a cohort. That means cohort means he's doing it with you. It's live. It's building at the time. It's not some pre-recorded thing. So because things change. If he recorded something today, maybe by next Wednesday, there's a new tool out or there's a new way to do something. It goes stale fast. So you're live in the moment, what's working right now, because he's doing it right beside you. So before I showed you what's inside this, I can just tell you some of these, it's not for you. If you're looking for done for you, this is not for you. He's not going to do it for you. He's going to do it with you and show you how to do it so you can do it on your own. If you're just like, I don't use Codex, I'm a Claude person, I'm not going to touch it, then don't waste your time. And if you're not going to bring a real ASIN to this, if you don't have an ASIN, if you don't have something that you can use, then this is not for you either. You're going to need a product. So if you're brand new and you're just starting and you haven't even picked your product yet, this is not going to really help you that much. What you want, what's going to happen on week 1 on the 19th is you're going to get Codex up and running. So if you have any issues, he's going to show you how to fine tune it, how to get it going at its maximum, some settings and stuff that you might not even know about. And so you're going to get your hero image and it's going to be done. You're going to work on your hero image that day and it's going to be done. Then week 2, you're going to work on your image stack. Everything is going to be in the right order. He's going to show you how to know which order to put it on so it actually gets the CTR and sells more. You're going to have 7 secondary images, all in a proper sequence. And a lot of people don't understand how to do that proper sequence. He's going to show you how to do that and how to build them in that proper sequence. Week 3, you're going to work on all your premium A+, your brand story. These are the modules that help close the deal. After they've done the click and they've looked and they just need a little push over the edge, he's going to show you how to create these images and this material that will help push people over the edge into hitting that buy button. And then in week 4, he's going to do all the social stuff. He's going to show you how to make social packs for all the different platforms. And then he's going to show you how to skillify that. So he's going to show you how to do it, and you're going to make your own skill. He's going to give you some stuff, and then you're going to make your own skill. And then you'll be able to use that over and over and over to save you all the steps and save you all the time. Skills, if you haven't used those, are ridiculous. If you're just prompting over and over and over, you're wasting a lot of time and you're getting stuff not right. If you make a skill, it's like an SOP for the AI. It's like this is how you do it. And if you're like, oh man, I wish it would do this, you just update the skill, and the skill, the next time it runs, it will actually do that one thing and keep everything else the same. It's super incredible if you haven't played with these. He's going to show you how to use them and how to build them for yourself to just save massive amounts of time. So every Wednesday, you're going to leave with something that's shippable, something that's done, basically, something that's ready to post onto Amazon or onto social media or wherever it is. These are not notes. You're not going to be taking, you may take some notes, but you're not leaving with just a stack of notes and then you got to go back and do it later. You're going to leave with a finished file, which is a big difference. That's why it's a cohort. It's not a class. You're going to leave with that file. Today, like John said, you have to wait on a designer. Maybe you've played with AI and you've gone to ChatGPT and you've told it, make me some images, and it's just not getting it just right. Or you're waiting or paying a designer to do this stuff. The tools today, if you know how to drive the car, you can race it on a racetrack. If you know how to drive the right kind of car, know how to put the right kind of gas in, and that's what he's going to show you. So by September 9th, you're going to be basically the designer. You're going to have the skills and the knowledge to actually be the designer, how to tell it exactly what you need, not just this one product, but for everything else in your portfolio or in your catalog. So what changes on your P&L by doing this? You're basically 7 seconds per asset when you're at scale, when you're doing this at scale. You get 4 different creative surfaces. You're going to know how to do the hero right, how to do the image stack correctly and in the right order, how to do the A plus, and how to do your social. And then you're just going to apply that to your next 10, 20, 50, 100 skills. It's going to be set and running, save you a ton of time and a ton of money. And you don't need to buy design anymore, unless you just really want to or need something really, really artsy fartsy that AI just is having trouble with. But most of us don't need that. So now the things that you're probably already thinking is that, so I bought skills like this before. I bought stuff like this before. So has everyone. Fair enough. But those were videos. This one has a Wednesday. That's the difference. This is live with John. Ask him questions. He guides you. Oh, something's wrong. He can share. He can, if with your permission, you can share the screen. And he'll go and fix it right on the spot. That's the level that you're getting. You're getting like an expert over your shoulder that's ready to help you anytime you get into a bind.
I just want to say this, Kevin, real quick. Just back on that one. Um, it's not I build it with you and then you get the deliverables and you move on and that's it. You get the skills. So you walk away with the skills. So at the end of the 4 weeks, you're having all the deliverables, and then you have the skills to rinse and repeat it. So now you're owning that process. I want to make sure that's super clear for folks because I see questions in here. How do we get the skills? You're going to get the skills.
So another thing is you may say, well, I've never used Codex. I use something else. I've never used Codex. That's okay. Week 1, he's starting right at 0. Uh, as long as you got an email address and Seller Central, you're good. That's all you need to get going. If you say, hey, I'm not a designer, I can't even draw a stick figure. That's the point here. That's the point. Is like you're learning a system. You're not learning how to be a designer. You're not going to the Parsons School of Design. You're learning the system, not design how to do this at scale. Some of you may say, "Hey, I'll miss a Wednesday." Don't worry. Every session is recorded. It's not as good as being live. You want to be live if at all possible, or somebody on your team needs to be there live. But if you just can't, you're not going to be behind because there will be a replay. And you just build what you build that next week and show you, John, I watched the replay last week. This is what I got, but I had this trouble. I have a quick question. He'll answer it for you. You say, hey, but you know what? You just showed supplements and everything, but my product's different. I'm selling some crazy thing. Good. So what? Bring it. These are for real ASINs, built live right in front of you. So that's the power here of what he's doing is you can't get this anywhere else. And I just experienced it myself personally. 4.5 hours on Sunday of this week, me and John on a Zoom call going back and forth. And he's like, oh, Kevin, you need to do this. Oh, and at one point I was like, what do I need to do? I need to hit here, 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 and here. And he's like, just give me a screen share. Let me just do it real quick for you. And I watched him do it. Saved a ton of time. And I learned something new that's going to save probably, I don't know, 20, 30 hours a month, maybe on some of what we were having to do. Then he's like, well, you know what? You got to set this up. Like, hold on, let's just set it up right now. And he set it up for me and walked me through the whole thing. That's what you get. You can say, I don't have time, man. 2 hours, it's 2 hours 4 times. You got time, or someone on your team has time. 8 hours against weeks in a queue or weeks of trying to learn or trial and error. You can't go wrong on that. So here's everything that you get if you want to do this. You get 4 live 2-hour sessions with John. That's $1,200 here. If you were paying him directly one-on-one, that would actually be $4,000 So that's actually low. As you see, we didn't make these numbers up and just try to inflate them to be some BS number to make it look good. Lifetime replays and session vault, it's $297. The Codex Creative Skill Pack that he's going to give you, that's worth about $500. The weekly builds on your on ASINs, another couple $100. Private post boot camp review call, so he'll get on after the 4 weeks and go over your stuff with you. You're gonna get that call with him. That's $500, and then he's gonna tear down as a bonus your main image. You remember I said that he used that's where I met him several years ago. He's doing these live teardowns on social media. He's gonna do that and build it back up, not in public necessarily, but he'll tear that down and help you build that back up. And sometimes one little tweak, one little label push, or one little something, it makes a huge difference. That's about $3,000 right there. But it's actually more because that first one is way underpriced based on what we just paid. The regular price that he charges for this is actually $1,500. It says 997 here because that's when I was like talking to him. I was like, dude, I don't know. People ain't gonna pay $1,500. Um,
And I will say, just to interrupt your flow, Kevin, for a second. I'm a little bit embarrassed right now because there's like 2 or 3 people in this room that have done previous month's cohort that have paid $1,500 or $2,000. So we're not making that stuff up. There's people in this room right now in the comment section that are saying that they joined cohorts, and I'm embarrassed because they paid more than what we're talking about right now, but they had a great time and they were very valuable to them. So.
Yeah, so he said it's $1,500. I was like, wow, that's just too much. You know, you gotta help me out with the BDSM guys. And he said, okay, how about 997? And I said, okay, well, that's still too much money. That's still too much money. Not for this room. I can't do that. You know, my guys need some help. They're on a budget. They don't want to be spending that kind of money. So instead of that $1,500, he said, you know what, the best I can do is like 499. He said, you think, a few people will buy this? And I don't want to have like one guy in the room. Do you think a few people buy? I said, yeah, if you price it right, because this is massively helpful. He said, all right, let's do this at $499. So instead of $1,500, it's $499. And I said, that sounds good. And then on Sunday we were talking, and I was like, dude, man, this is pretty cool, but I just 499 is a chunk of change. He said, yeah, but just think of what they're getting. I said, yeah, I know, but it's a chunk of change. So anything we can do, anything, I'm just paying you a bunch of money here from Dragonfish. Can you help my people out? Pass some love along. He said, okay, look, I know you guys didn't stay for these last 90 minutes if you came for the pregame for that kind of price. So he said, I can do it for $399. So you get 3,000, actually $5,000 of value. There's a typo on there. $5,000 of value. It's $399 if you do it today. So you can go to amzmarketer.com/codex, all lowercase, CODEX, and you can sign up. I'm going to put a QR code up here on the screen in a minute, and Norm's going to paste that link into the chat as well. It's amzmarketer.com/codex. One agency hero image costs more than that. If you go hire an agency, I know some agencies that charge way more than that. I know my buddy Mark spent $40,000 with one of the top Amazon design agencies. $40,000 for like, I think four SKUs to have this process done. You're going to have it done, know how to do it for $399 across your entire catalog and be able to do that basically forever. So it's $399 one time. It's not some monthly fee. Every listing after that is free, basically. I mean, just that's how you can think of it. It's like I'm making an investment to do my listings for ages, for the lifetime of them. Show up week one, do the work. If you don't have a usable hero, he'll give you a refund. So if you show up on week one and you're like, this just ain't working, I'm getting some garbage over here and I can't use this stuff, then you tell him and he'll either get you right and make it right, or he'll give you your money back. That's the guarantee. As long as you show up for week one, you're good. You're gonna have usable stuff. So you have two versions of your September basically. This starts in August, but without doing this with John, you can still be emailing designers or people on Upwork or whatever, still waiting on quotes. Some images, same CTR. You're not going to improve anything. You might have great images, but you're not going to get that extra CTR and that extra money. With John, you're going to get that those ASINs shipped. You're going to get the A+ live. You're going to get ads running. You're going to get stuff you didn't even ask anyone for, didn't even ask for. He's going to show you whatever's new that day. He'll be like, hey guys, this is what we're working on today, but guess what? Codex just released version 72.6, and it's got this really cool thing. Let me show you how we're going to integrate that now. You're going to get up to date and current on everything. So remember, week 1 starts next week. He's doing this right before he flies out to Market Masters. So he'll be at Market Masters coming out on the 20th. But he's doing the first one, 5 to 7 Eastern, $3.99. The price is good until tonight. So if you need to talk to someone, get permission from the boss. After that, we got to go back up. But it's $3.99 tonight. That's the QR code, and that's the link. So I would encourage you to join and do this. I've personally worked with John personally, so I can personally endorse it. I don't do that very often. People say, Kevin, can you tell me what's a good 3PL or good whatever? If I haven't worked with them, I don't endorse them. I endorse John, and I used my own money to hire him, and I didn't even I could have. He said, hey, you want to, you're Kevin, I want to take care of you. I say, no, what's your price? I want to be fair, and that's what we did. So I believe in being fair, and I believe in, if you go through this, that John is going to really help you and make some big changes, save you a lot of time and save you a lot of money, and give you more control. So with that, hopefully some of you are going to take advantage of this. It's a smart move. And with that,
Well,
we can
just
answer some questions.
yeah, just like you said, Kevin, like I always just, whenever anything's new, I just pepper it in. Just like on today's call here, I was not prepared to go into this and talk about Grok and talk about video generation and stuff, but I spun up that skill last night, and that's additional value. So I'm just known, and anyone that was in the cohorts before, there's a handful of them that are in the chat right now. They know that I go above and beyond. They know that I do this kind of stuff. I often put my foot directly in my mouth, but it's always for value and over delivering. So, there's a lot of people that ask me, hey, can I buy your skill? And there have been people in the past that paid thousands just for the skill and delivered it, but there's only a handful of them. But I typically don't just sell skills by themselves. So at this an insanely ridiculous price, and as I'm looking at the number on the screen, I'm like, what I've charged people before and what they've gladly paid. We even had people from the Claude Code cohort go into the Codex cohort, pay the exact same 1,500 and then 1,500 without even blinking an eye. So this price is insanely aggressive. In the cohort right now that's running, I have 5 people that are only on replays. The calls this month look like a ghost town because we have people that are paying full price just for the recordings and the skills. So they don't even want to come on the group calls. They're just like, cool, I value just the recording of walking through it and the skill itself, and we're good, so.
Awesome. Well, Norm, do we have any questions?
We got a bunch of questions. This goes right back to the beginning. We'll start there. Is this possible in Gemini or Claude, as I have subscriptions for both, but not ChatGPT?
No, because the example we talked about with Claude, there's no image generation model, and Gemini does not really have any platform like Codex or Claude Code to do this at scale.
All right. I think we covered this one, but do we build the skill in Claude and then bring it into Codex? Can you share the skills you used so we can use it for reference?
Um, I already made the skills, and you're just bringing them right in Codex, so you don't have to make anything. And I could share them for $3.99 if you come.
Great price. All right. Here's another one. Will the skills be shared today? No, just scan the QR code, and it's $3.99.
It's the best 399 you can spend. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not chump change, but $1,500 is a lot more than 399. But for what you get, and you get, I mean, just think of 1 hour of John's time is $500, and that's not a made up inflated price. That's what he charges and what his invoice says. Trust me, I've seen it. So you're getting 8 hours of that just alone, and you're walking away with the know-how and the knowledge to apply this. You got to think about it's not just to do one product; it's to do all your products. And if you only have one product now, you're set for when you have your other ones. So if you got 20 products to redo, you're set. And even if you're happy with your images right now, even if you're like, you know what, my images are good, I'm good. Give it a shot, because one little tweak, 1% difference in conversion rate could be, depending on your volume of sales, could be 10, 50, $100,000 a month, depending on your sales volume. So that 399, you get that back within like a few days, depending on the level you're at, if not even in one day if you're a big seller. And then apply that across and give it to your team to do all your images. It's a no-brainer to me. I mean, it's
Yeah, even that little tilt we saw, just something just that minor could make a huge difference in the CTR. So the next question is, if the hero and the secondary are worth 75 and A plus is 25, what's the impact of a listing video?
Listing videos on PDPs are you need them, right? Because anything Amazon tells you to do, you should do it. But the video portion that I showed was really most beneficial for when you're running like sponsored brand video ads or like off Amazon advertising and you want to use video. That's where those are the most powerful.
Okay, this one from Jeff. Do you train your skill to know how to scale the product in lifestyle image? Many times a lifestyle image is good, but the product is too big, too small, or the wrong angle.
Yeah, so the what happens is it's always how much input you give it. It's garbage out. So when people join the cohort now, we fine tune or I show them how to fine tune the skills to talk about aspect ratio, sizing components. It's 6 inches, it's 8 inches, it's all this kind of stuff. So with that quality control as part of the flow, Codex is able to take care of that.
Okay, can Grok generate layered files that can be edited in Photoshop?
No.
I use Canva to separate layers of a static image, but it costs a lot of credits. Okay.
Yeah, I used to be a very large Canva user. I haven't opened Canva probably about 6 months because of what Codex and all these other apps can do for images.
Can Grok do video editing?
Yep. Got so that video for goalie and also the protein one, Grok actually generated 5 clips and then took those 5 clips and edited together.
All right. Do you recommend Grok versus Higgsfield? Is it comparable?
So I recommend Grok only because I want to own the process and have that one monthly payment and have everything be inclusive when I iterate. Higgsfield is great, especially with CDance 2.0 or 2.5. But remember, with that, you have to bring in your API and then you're charged every time you use it. So if you're iterating and you get crappy video, you paid for that crappy video and you have to iterate again and again and again. So the cost does go up. But CDance is a very strong model that's inside Higgsfield.
All right. This is not a question. It's a comment from John S. Worked with John on a cohort before. He's the man.
That's one of the folks that paid full price, which is making me blush right now at that $399 price.
Same question for creating Grok skills. Will chat do the heavy lifting?
So in terms of the skills are already made that I'm giving to you, and then you're editing during the cohort. So the skills are already kind of created, and you're applying them either in Grok Build or in Codex.
Okay, Rocky is asking, is it possible to use these AI tools to create images, videos for pet products, like show a product on a pet?
1000%. I've done this with 2 clients already in the cat and dog, both supplement and clothing space.
And does it work for UK Amazon accounts?
It could work with any place that takes images.
Does this include updates? For example, can we get revised skill or Nano Banana 4 replaces ChatGPT for best images for next month?
So there's typically no updates on it because you're customizing it for yourself during the cohort. But remember, that skill is not model specific. So that skill is agnostic. So you can plug it into Grok, plug it into Codex. So if Gemini was to come out with something, you can plug it in there as well.
All right. As from Matt, AI always has big problems with my bike bag product. Can't figure out how to get the details, proportions, or correct mounting. Wonder if this is different. Would be cool to see a live example using my product to show that it would actually work. Well,
Yeah,
then,
so some products have nuanced things. So Regina's in here. I saw her in the main chat. She was in a couple of the cohorts. So she has a very nuanced kind of product. And a workaround for that is it's always garbage in, garbage out. So the more input of the different angles of the back, the front, the side, how it's used. But with her, sorry for calling you out, Regina, because I only say because you posted in the comments. She was actually taking customer photos from customer reviews and supplying that to give additional context. So all those different things will help.
All right, Mike O'Connor. I'm in. Thanks, Kevin John.
Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, Jeff Allen. Okay, I bought it. All right.
Love Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Yeah, I think this is a joke. Do you take Bitcoin?
Kevin only takes crypto. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And Norm, just real quick, I mean, we got a lot of people joining this. I just want to say a call out, a thanks to Create Fun, to Josie Shopping, to WB, to AMZ1, I guess, to Beth, to Beryl Art, to Ithaca Sports, to Beyond Health, to Orbis, to Berkling Tools, sorry, to Spiceway, to Ultimate Health, to Autumn Alley, to Azen Gear, to Mansa Brands, to Skin Perfection, to PFS, to Welly Tails, and there's several more here, but I'm going to refresh the screen. But a lot of smart people choosing this, so you still have time. Remember this expires today. You
wait,
might
Kevin,
just,
these are folks that just bought.
yeah, all those are just
Yeah.
folks that
Oh,
just bought.
I'm gonna yell at Carrie when I see her in her hot seat in Market Masters. Carrie has already went through a cohort. That's just to show you how valuable this crap really is. Carrie already went through a cohort where she paid about $1,500 and she bought again just now. So that's gonna give me a note to yell at her about that.
Well,
Okay.
go
They're
ahead, Norm.
asking, or some people are asking, when the link for the session is going out.
That'll go out. So what happens is you pay, you'll get a confirmation page. It says thanks or something like that. And it says on that page, it says John will be emailing you directly. So we process the payment and then I will give John a file. I'll give it to him a couple times, but I'll give him the first one later today, and then he'll send an email out to everybody. I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, whatever his process is, but this starts next Wednesday, so it's not like you need to have the email right today. But he'll send you an email, and I'm sure that has the link. It has what else, John? It probably like make
Yeah,
sure.
mine's gonna have like a whole. My AI is tuned up, so it checks for all this kind of stuff. It is gonna email and say, "Hey, what is your assets? What's the brand?" Give you the link for the all the four of the calls. It's gonna ask for send you a link for a Slack invite because I open up a Slack group where everyone joins in. I have full automations running. You could ask anyone that's been in the cohort. Where literally it's so fine tuned that when a session is over about an hour after, everyone gets a recap, a full Fathom link recording of it, but then everyone also gets their own personalized email of everything they talked about on the call if they engaged and what's valuable to them. And then it goes one step further of if you join the Slack group for that cohort, the automation then goes into Slack and then post reminders about homework or don't forget to do this. So I have it really tuned up.
And
All
Badass
right.
Moto, you just joined in too. Just real quick, Norm. Badass Moto joined. A couple more just joined.
Badass Moto joined.
Badass Moto just
These
joined.
people that have already done cohorts, Kevin, I'm not making these up. This is people that spent $1,500 or $2,000 multiple times over are now opting in again. I just want to make sure that's clear.
And then I think she's going to be you're doing a workshop at Market Masters too, which is going to go into detail. So anybody on this call that's at Market Masters next week, you're going to be able to see it live, and then corner him over lunch or over dinner, or and say, hey, can you take a look at this, or help me out with this? And he's going to be there hands on too. So the people at Market Masters are in for a treat as well. But if you can't make it to Market Masters, this is the next best thing, and at this price. It's crazy. We still have 80 people, 76 people, 79 people on here. So you're not hanging on here just because you're not interested. If you're hanging on here, he's going to answer a few more questions, but we'll have to go here in probably about 5 minutes or so. But take advantage of this. Go ahead, Norm.
We got some quick questions. So Regina's asking, are the Grok skills you showed today included?
Yeah, so that was that extra kind of whammy that I put in, that Grok video skill. So I want to be clear too. So any of the image generation skills can be applied to Grok or Codex, but that video skill that I'm going to go through as well, that's typically only for Grok because only Grok can do the video generation.
Okay, Julie's asking, is it per person or can two people from a team join?
So if they're on the same call in the same room together, sure. But in terms of like separate emails, separate invites, and stuff like that, we have to keep it to per person as far as that goes.
Okay, Jeff's asking, what YouTuber should I watch for Grok image tutorials?
John Aspinall on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot. Grok is very polarized in the AI space because of Elon Musk and all this other kind of stuff. But if you separate the person from the tool, it is very, very strong. So not a lot of folks are doing tutorials or talking about it. Again, there's another new tool that literally came out yesterday called Grokbot, which is a whole AI agentic powered system powered by Grok, which I'll probably talk about more even in this cohort too that's coming up. So things change every single day.
All right, another one. And we've already answered this, but I paid for the boot camp. I did not receive my confirmation.
Yeah, you should get a confirmation email. It's going to go to the email that's on your Stripe account. So sometimes people have an old email on their Stripe account that they forgot about. So you'll get an email to your Stripe account, but you won't get a confirmation. You'll get that from John with all the details of how to log in and everything. That'll be coming later today or tomorrow. You'll get that from John.
Okay, let's see. Regarding main images, how can we create an image with a splash or any other element or effect that Amazon will actually accept without suppressing the listing? Everything looks great in theory, but in practice, it doesn't work.
So this is where risk and reward comes into play. So you have to know your category, know your space. If other people are doing it, you can be doing it as well. There's little nuanced things in terms of if the splash is connected or touching the bottle or not. That's what's baked into that image stack. I'm sorry, the main image skill. But understand when you're talking about anything about the main hero image, there's always a risk of it getting suppressed on Amazon, which is a 1 to 2 hour fix. But I always look at it as this: if you did it and processed it and you ran at a higher click through rate for 7 or 8 months or even 3 to 4 months, how much more sales did you make than prior for your listing to be quote unquote down for 1 or 2 hours while you revert back to the old image? So it's always risk versus reward when it comes to this kind of thing.
All right, we got what, over 70 people still on.
Yeah, and there's
We're getting
several
down to
more
the
people
last
just
question.
several more people just purchased too. So welcome, Polinord and LHS. Welcome to you guys as
LHS, that's an Kevin, I have to say it again. That is another one. That's John. He's done multiple cohorts with me at full price. So I have to call that stuff out because that's important to note that when someone pays full price and then is going to pay for this, that they see more value in this. I think that's important kind of call out.
All right, this is our last question. We've answered 32. This is from Sai. He says, how fragile are these skills when Codex or the image generation model changes? Do you have the content, do you have to continually maintain them, or can we build skills remain, oh, sorry, or can a well-built skill remain reliable for months?
Yeah, so the Codex skill is built out to use the internal image generation model, the whatever the most recent one is for that tool. So it's agnostic, where if OpenAI released image 3, right, it's going to default to the newest image model for that.